Om Bhajagovindam chanting verses 21 to 25.
Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam. Iha samsare bahudustare, kripaya pare pahi murare. रथ्याचर्पट विरचित गन्धः पुण्या पुण्य विवर्जित पन्थः योगी योग नियोजित चित्तो रमते बालोन्मत्तवदेव कस्त्वं कोऽहं कुतायातः कामे जननी को मे तातः इति परिभावय सर्वमसारं विश्वं त्यक्त्वा स्वप्नविचारम् त्वयि मयि चान्यत्रैको विष्णुः व्यर्थं कुप्यसि मय्यसहिष्णुः भवसमचित्तः सर्वत्र त्वं वाञ्छस्य चिराद्यदि विष्णुत्वम् शत्रौ मित्रे पुत्रे बन्धौ मा कुरु यत्नं विग्रहसन्धौ सर्वस्मिन्नपि पश्यात्मानं सर्वत्रोत्सृज भेदाज्ञानम्
सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करमावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति Traditionally, they say these 4 gakaras were supposed to be very auspicious. Ganga, Gita, Govinda, and Gayatri. These 4 were supposed to be auspicious. Each one representing one aspect. Govinda represents the worship, Karma Yoga. This Ganga is more of devotion, Bhakti. Gita is designed for study and reflection. Gayatri is meant for japa. So these 4 gakaras, they say, is sufficient for a person to grow in life. Evolution, this 4 ga is sufficient. Say. And that he is giving these 3 things have been referred here in this verse, in Bhajagovindam. Except that Gayatri, he is using all this. Because Gayatri is meant for people who are evolved, for those who have crossed. For them, the final advice given would be that Gayatri. But that's the first thing being taught to a child. When they initiate, when the thread ceremony being done, the first mantra is taught to the child is Gayatri mantra. So they teach that mantra in the beginning itself. First education starts with Gayatri mantra. And that's the last thing you use also for your growth or your evolution or realization. So this 4 gakaras being used, and he says, even a little is sufficient. You don't need to know a lot of things. You don't need too much of devotion. Even if you have a little devotion is sufficient. Little worship is sufficient enough. You know, just to light a lamp in the morning. You wake up, have bath, go and light a lamp, and say some 2-3 slokas there and walk out. Now we are not talking about worship of Murari. Says that's the worship. It gives a fantastic habit. It gives a good habit formation for you as well as for the next generation. The problem we have today is the next generation is not having any value now in terms of any spiritual or religion. And today we started believing as though religion is a bad word to be used. That's the absolute error. It's like calling a dog mad and killing it. You don't know what you are doing. It's a compulsory thing for people to have. And you can go through this Reader's Digest, the old copies. You go through that. Every Reader's Digest almost, at least alternative Reader's Digest, if you take, you will see they talk about this one aspect. How do people have these things there? How they miraculously, get rid of their things and what happens in their life. All of them have had one thing. They all be religious. That religiosity provides a tremendous immune system. I'm talking about physical immune system. I'm not talking about psychological immune and all that. Your physical immune grows. They say. You read there. It's fascinating to see that. It gives that thing. So that is why we have this practice of it is compulsorily to be done in every house. And that's why we have even though every village had a temple, but every house has to do this things, in the puja room. Why? Because that practice, that thing gives a fantastic, I hate to use the word, but I couldn't find a better word, therefore I'm using it. Vibration. It gives a fantastic vibration. And the psychologists, child psychologists, you ask them, they say, all those kids who are having a pathetic concentration problem, all have, can't concentrate. They say what they have to do, sir. All that they say is, if a child were to do a particular ritual, particular set of actions, before the study, end of the study, their concentration improves tremendously. Their ability to absorb the content improves tremendously. And the ritual that, that routine action, repeated routine action that you do before and after gives a good input to you. What is, from where you are getting it? You can do anything. It doesn't matter what you do, but you can't sustain it unless you have this divine touch to it. Without a touch of divinity, you cannot sustain a practice rest of your life. That is why in our religion, in our culture, they have kept everything connected to religious, all rituals. Everything was connected to divinity. Why? Of course, it's not been given only for your physical hygiene. But even if a hygiene, you have to do it. Now, in the beginning, all of you think for yourself. In the beginning of that lockdown period, Corona period, how many times you have been washing your hands and how many times you are washing today? In the beginning, how many times you did? Now, how many times you are doing? In another 6 months down the line, what will happen? You will go back to your thing. You can't sustain a practice to do that same thing again and again and again without the touch of divinity. You just cannot do it. It is not possible. Nobody can do it. So don't get into this false belief. Now, today I see, hardly I see in a house a person is doing any sort of ritual now. And you think, it is derogatory to do all those things. Today we have started believing in such a thing, to do these sort of things is not, cool. If you are to be a cool person, what you should be? It gives you a tremendous impact it has. And that's what he means by there is no charcha, he says, with Yama. Yes. Yamenana charcha. Yes. There is no contention. There is no problem with Yama. Yama means what, sir? Yama means the Lord of death, the Lord of diseases. That's how he will come in. You will not have any contention with him. What? The proof they have, in fact. It doesn't attack. It gives a tremendous, the religious people were shown to have better immunity. I'm talking about physical immunity, remember. I'm not talking about psychological immunity. Even a physical immunity will grow if you have it. That's what he says in the text. There is no charcha with Yama. Means what? There is no, give and take, fighting, nothing of that sort will be there for this person who is doing it on a regular basis. What is it, sir? It gives you that one side. I've told you, all these things can be studied from two angles. One is relative, one is absolute. Absolute interpretation, if you take, you say, Yama is not just this. Yama means what, sir? Yama is samsara. You get over this death. Means you get into immortality. Gradually you come to immortality, crossing over mortality. Mortality is what is referred by Yama here. Smoothly you will cross over that. There is no tug of war. There's no fight. There is no disputes. There's no arguments. You will smoothly cross over this mortality and reach to immortality. There's no problem you have. So Yama is treated from two ways. One is relatively, another one is absolute. For which what you have to do, sir? You have to give this Murari worship. That Murari says Murari is another name for Krishna. Murari means when he killed the demon Mura, he got the name, this name Murari, he got the destroyer of this demon called Mura. He becomes. Now worship, we're not talking about you should become ritualistic. Now that's not what is being referred to. You have to do rituals. Now you can't be either you do rituals means you become ritualistic or you don't do anything. You just stand either at this extreme or in the other extreme. There is no balance. He says the balancing has to be done. So what do you do? This worships will convert your house into a temple. Once you convert your house into a temple, the temple will not be attracting, it will be defending itself from the evil forces. The evil forces will not enter into temple. So the evil things will not. Now that doesn't mean from tomorrow I will start doing, puja. I should not get corona and all, don't say. That's what people started thinking, They said, okay, since he said that, they thought I will not get corona. No. That is not what is referred here immediately. But it does give one thing. What is it, sir? If you do it over a period of time, it builds your immune system. That's about it. It builds it. That building will help you. And the people in the house will get that vibration, the feel, what we call as that mahat in that place is very different. So the kids who are been growing up in that sort of an atmosphere grow with a better immune system, not to fall for this materialistic, things, because today this materialism is engulfing the society so much. How do you protect yourself from that? We don't know how to protect ourselves. To get that protection, to get that immunity, what you have to do? He says, practice this. And then this Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita. Drink a drop of Ganges water. That doesn't mean literally you just take one Ganges, drop of water and everything should be all right for you, please. That's not what it is. It is the emotional feel that you can have. The Ganges has got a tremendous emotional thing associated with that. Now you don't get that with, this Nile. You don't get it. You go to this Nile River. What is wrong with Nile River? Huh? There's nothing wrong with that. But still, that is totally different from this. Why is that? It's a feel of it. That's all. How we feel this water. What is just that emotion. The problem with this sort of emotions is if you have it, you have it. If you don't have it, you can't generate it. You see, if you have that emotion, it will be there. The emotion is not there, means you cannot generate it. You see, it is not possible. Like, my cousin had brought one puppy yesterday to the house and he had put it up. I called him and blasted him. What nonsense, I said. Are you mad? And his argument was this. What had happened was, that, the mother gave birth to about 7 puppies. And the mother is being totally indifferent towards all of them. He's not feeding them. He's not there. He's just, moved. That's all. So they don't know what to do with it now. So the friend of that fellow, had called all these guys and said, hey, I don't know what to do with the 7. It's not, I can't take care of all of them. So I brought it. He said, you keep it for 1 month and then send it back. I said, don't try to own it up. See that dog is not having the feeling. Now what do you do? Can you inject? Can you inject motherliness into the dog? You cannot. There are humans also like that, who don't feel. You just cannot feel. That's all. Nothing. You can't blame them. They just don't feel it. That's it. Now what do you do? Same way. Now if you feel it, you have it. When you don't feel it, you don't have it. How do you generate? See, identification cannot be generated. Remember. If you generate it, it's fake. It's not real. That's what we see in the movies. The movies, you see the hero and heroine loving each other so much. Is it true? It's not true. Why? Generated. That anger that this man showing, generated. The frustration that he is showing, generated. The disappointment he is showing, generated. The sadness that he is showing, generated. The happiness that he is showing, generated. All that emotions that he is showing, it's all generated. Artificial. The moment the director says, cut, what happens to all this? That's why a lot of actors, when they have to, act on the scene where they have to cry, they put, glycerin. So the tears will come. Otherwise, they don't cry. Sometimes, in the olden days, they say, I don't know whether they do it now. Olden days and all, they say, If they have to cry, means that either the hero or the director will come and give a slap in front of everyone. They'll, give fatal, they give one. And they start crying, now act. Tears are coming, no, now act. See. Depends. See, emotion. That's where this bhakti, you have it, you have it. You don't have it, nothing can be done. You can't generate it. You can't put an effort to generate. You see, whereas with that thought and action, there is a possibility to it. So, if at all you are going to put an effort, we say it is better you concentrate on these two things. As a result of your understanding, as a result of your purification, the emotion called bhakti will get generated automatic. But you can't directly do for it. You can't directly try to create. You can't, generate that devotion. That's why you go to temple. You don't. If you cannot see, that means you cannot see it. See, it is not possible for us. South Indian goes to North Indian temples, he will not get inspired. See, because how can the priest go inside? This the Akshineshwar temple, you take one South Indian, he will not get inspired. He will look at that, Kali and come out. That's all. There's no inspiration he will get. Why? Because the priest is coming with all, full dressed up. A priest is supposed to be how? You should not be having this, upper body should be bare body. He should not have all those things. Only then he is pure and he will be allowed to enter into the Sanctum Sanctorum. Now he goes to North India. You take him to Badrinath, he will faint. Why? That fellow will go with the Nike shoes. Right. Now imagine there, this man were to walk inside with the, with the bare foot, bare chest, he has to go and do puja and come back. You have to do puja for him after that. It won't work. You see, he will not get inspired. He will say that, but does he get that inspiration, sir? He will not get it. Why? For him to generate, he demands. I'm not saying it is right. You see, that emotion gets generated depending upon our pattern. The pattern in these people is to have this. Now, for a Christian, it is the Vatican City. You see, Vatican, if he goes, there is inspiration for him. Like a Sikh, when he goes to this golden temple, that golden temple Gurudwara is totally different from the Gurudwara that we have in Bangalore. There's also Gurudwara only, no. But does he feel the same way? No, he will not feel the same way. Now you go to the mosque here and you go to this Mecca. Is it the same? See, it's the same prayer only you are going to utter. What you are saying is the same thing you are going to say there also. But then, that's totally different. How is it, sir? That generates a particular feel, you see. It's not universal. That's all I'm saying. If it is common to everybody, then a South Indian Brahmin goes to this Vatican City also should get inspired. Right? A South Indian Brahmin will look at, Pope standing in the balcony. As what? Exactly the same way, a Catholic, when he comes to this temple here, when he comes to the temple, Brihadishwara temple, he comes, he will see what? Oh, amazing, man. Look at the architecture. At best, he can appreciate, means he can appreciate what? He'll appreciate the architecture. 1,000 years it's been standing. Oof. How they must have built it? How many years it has taken for them to build? From where they got the stones? Because near the vicinity, we don't have the stone at all. So the whole thing must have been carried from somewhere. What must have been the transportation during that time? How much of effort must have gone into it? Who would have been the chief architect of that, overseeing the whole thing? Project means there has to be a project manager, no? They have the names and all that there. There's put names of those people also, whoever managed it. How many people must have worked, where they must have stayed, how they managed. Amazing work here. That's all he can get. He will not see divinity there. See that? Now he can't see the divinity. He will see the bull and say, what a beautiful stone. Is it a single stone or attached? We say, no, it's a single stone. My God, in single stone they have done so much of work. Superb, man. What an imagination. What's a beauty. Now he won't see the divinity of Nandikeshwara. He will not see that as Nandikeshwara is sitting there. You can't blame him for that. He will not feel it. Now devotion, you feel. You don't feel, you can't generate. Now it's a great message we understand from this. Very, very important dimension of emotion is when it comes to a discussion of emotion, we have the option either accept or reject. You can't reason with emotion. You can't analyze. The problem we all have is we tend to analyze and reason the emotions. When you try to reason emotions, it won't work. That's why, when the boy comes and says, I love this girl, you start reasoning. It won't work. You start analyzing. How can, Laila fall in love with a common girl like Majnu fall in love with Laila? Common girl. Commoner. How can you love? No. There's no logic to it. There's no reason to it. That's why we say love is blind. Why? You can't reason. With any emotion, you can't reason. Why are you getting angry for this? You can't reason. You reason, it will fall flat. Isn't it? That's why no one who gets angry feels he is not justified, and no one to whom you show the anger feels justified in triggering anger. Hey, such an innocuous thing, why are you overreacting to it? Is what I will feel. The other party feels what? Such a great thing, blunder you have done in your life, is what the other person feels. You see, now you can't reason out and say which is right and which is wrong here. In emotions, remember, you have the option either to accept or reject. Either it is present or it is absent. You cannot generate. And that's what he gives here. This Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita. Drop of water from Ganges, drink. Now, there's no meaning to it. If you analyze, there is no meaning. You see, like in daffodils, you say, beside the lake and beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Daffodils will grow where? Under the lake. Huh? It will grow beside the lake only. How can a daffodil grow above the tree? Daffodil will grow below the tree only. It will be below. You reason, the whole thing looks absurd, there. But when he says that, it's so beautiful to hear, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. It's music. How? Feel factor there. In that feeling factor, it comes. You see? So, this drop of Ganges water is more of that emotional thing. You see? So it's nothing to do with this. So he says 3 disciplines. He says intellectually study little Gita. I don't want to get involved with it. We'll move, right? Otherwise, I'll start again. What is little? Why Gita? What little? And all that means, another class gone. Okay. This is it's a beautiful one. Similarly, drink a little drop of Ganges water. Worship Murari at least once. Do it at least once. Means at least once a day. You have to add that within brackets. Do that at least once a day. Either morning or evening, whatever the time is. Do it once. Drink a little of Ganges water. A little of devotion. You should be there. And then study the Bhagavad Gita even a little. Little effort here and there is enough for you to cross over the contention with Yama, the Lord of Death. Continuing, the next verse 21. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam, iha samsare bahudustare, kripaya pare pahi murare. Repeated birth, repeated death, repeated lying in mother's womb. This samsara, wrestling entanglement, is unending, difficult to cross over. O Murari, save through your grace. Kripaya pare, pahi Murari. This save through your grace. Nityanada is supposed to be, given out by the student in Nityanada. Again, another very, very popular verse from Bhajagovindam. Well-known verse this is. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Again birth, again death. Punaha api is punarapi, once again. Again birth, again death. Again birth, again death. Keeping on. Again and again you keep lying on this womb. The womb may vary, that's all. Which womb you go into will differ, right? Now in the verse, there is one very, very subtle and a very popular idea of Eastern system comes. There are 2 popular ideas, actually speaking, here we have. First one we have to understand, which is very obvious here, is the idea of reincarnation. You see, in all the religions which are born in the East believed in reincarnation, right? The Western religions, all the religions which are born in the West, they believed in one birth. You are born as a human, you die, that's all. This is their idea. We subscribe to this idea. We say, yeah, what is this? All these people, this, very popular religions this side, we have is three popular religions we had. This what do you call it? Hinduism, Buddhism and Jainism, this side. The other side you have is the 3 ones, Jewish, Christianity, Islam. There. Now, all the 3 there say one birth. Here we say multiple birth. That's all. There is a difference. But that's not what we have to pay attention in this context here. In the context, that's not the focus. So therefore, I'm keeping it aside. Here the focus is, this is happening, he says, based on whatever the reason is. The focus here is this. In the West, they were thinking their highest attainment possibility is heaven. As far as they are concerned, height of the purpose of life itself is what? To go to heaven. That's all. So you live here you live in a particular way in this life. So based on the pattern in which you live, in a prescribed manner, if you live, when you die, you will get an entry into heaven. If you are not living that life according to that prescription, then you will go to hell. Hell is also permanent. Heaven you go also permanent. This is their idea. That's all. After that, there is nothing. Okay, I go to heaven and then you are there. You are permanently you are in heaven, or permanently you will be in hell. This is the idea there. Whatever the heaven is, whatever the hell is. Now you come this side, these people say, no, that's not the case. Heaven is not the idea. That's why I tell people, don't say all religions are speaking the same thing. They are not. They are not speaking the same thing, because for these people, heaven is not their idea. Swarga is not the final. Finality here is moksha, which is not Swarga. In the West, their highest possibility is what? Mission or the purpose of life possibility is Swarga. Here it is moksha. So the very destination is different. Now we started thinking that, all religions are going to the same destination. They are not going to the same destination, please. It's not that all the flights are going to same place. It's like somebody saying all the flights taking off from Bangalore go to same destination, sir. No. The takeoff is same, and most of them will take a turn also in a particular way. Correct. You will see them like that for a period of time. After that, what? Each flight goes in to one destination. So don't say all of them have the same destination. The destination itself is different. And that's what, if you are taking the destination to be different, only then this verse is applicable. If your destination were to be heaven, then this verse has no meaning. This verse is not required at all. The beauty of the verse is only if you understand it is moksha that is the final destination we are aspiring to reach. Then comes this verse. Then this verse is beautiful. Right? So understand that first. Here, when he is talking about this punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, he is talking about a particular pattern. He is talking about a universal problem. The universal problem of life. What is a universal problem of life, sir? Repetition. Repetition is the universal problem of life. Again and again, what is happening, sir? Same thing is happening. You are repeating. When you are repeating something again and again, what should happen to you after some time? How much ever you like idli, you may say, I love idlis. Okay. Imagine every day morning breakfast is idli. You go and ask those people who are working in this Brahmins cafe. Are they having that idli? You ask them. They don't eat. Why? How can you go on eating the same thing every day? Not possible. Once in a while to go and have that Brahmins idli is nice. Correct. Vidyarthi Bhavan masala dosa is fine. In Pizza Hut, you can have pizza. Right, thin crust pizza. You can order. Once in a while, correct. But imagine every day evening, Pizza Hut, which pizza you like the most? I keep giving you that, giving you that, giving you that. What will happen? Same thing, man. Imagine I talk the same thing every class. What will happen to you? Fourth class, you will not be there. Hey, he's talking the same thing here. Boring. Isn't it? It is boring, you say. So, the problem of life is what, sir? Boredom. Why we are getting bored? Because of the repetition. And what is a repetition? He says, you are doing the same thing again and again. What are you doing, sir? You are moving from one womb to another womb. And then you are born, grow, then crawl, walk, talk, then school, then high school, then university, then marriage, then children, then grow old, then die. Again, after that, what are you going to do? Come back. That's what they say. In one of the Upanishads, beautifully it says, when a child is in the womb, the child appears to be thinking, it seems. When it is in the womb, the child will tell itself, look here, last time I made a mistake of all these things. Okay. This time when I take birth, I will do the things properly so that I don't come back to this jail of womb. He will convince himself. He will tell himself. He will resolve himself. The moment he comes out, that prana comes and strikes the head. In the first striking, the child will forget all that. Whole decision, entire decision of the child is forgotten. Exactly like previous day night, you keep the alarm. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up. What do? You forget, right? Same way. Before that, you decide. But after that, it is not happening. Yes. The Upanishads, it says beautifully. It describes. So, the child is, what is he doing, sir? Repeating same thing again and again and again. He gets really bored. And this is samsara. This is called the terrestrial entanglement. You are entangled. You are samsara. See, the problem is, you should recognize the fact that you are doing the same thing again and again. You see, the problem is, you are not seeing it. That's what the Upanishad is explaining. Why is it that we are not able to see? Because when you are inside the womb, you recognize it. When you come outside, what happens, sir? The prana comes and strikes you. In that striking, you forget everything. Again, you think it is something fresh. Again, you do. I used to say, my God, I don't want next Janma. One teacher whom I attended this classes earlier when I was in school days. I asked him, he said, why do you want moksha? I told him, I don't want to go back to school again. Because if I take birth, again my father will say I have to go to school. Again I have to study mathematics. I said, forget it. I don't want that school. I have to go back to school again means it is better not to come back. What is this? Now you got to recognize the repetition. He is able to recognize. We are not able to recognize it. See, in our eyes, samsara is not that. But one thing we all know, from our angle, samsara is not repetition, boredom. From our angle, samsara is what, sir? Problematic. What is the problem? You are born, you try to adjust yourself to live in this particular environment in a particular way, As you are about to feel that, okay, things are all going settled, going smooth, everything is fine, suddenly what happens? Everything is upset. Your entire setup is collapsed. Again, what you have to do? Reorganize, reset everything. Now you, by the time you try to reorganize everything, again, one blow. It's like pack of cards, they arrange the cards, as you are building, one small wind that comes, one fellow walks faster next to that is enough to destroy everything. Before you do that, it's gone. Before you do it. So you are compelled to move, compelled as it were, to keep reorganizing, reorienting yourself, reorganize the setup. Now you put so much of effort and create it. And then what happens? A fellow here, but spent, fortune to build a house for over 2.5 years. He had built a house. He entered the house. After 4 years, I was asking him, he says, I don't know why I built such a big house. I don't think, we need such a big house. I don't think we need this. I don't think we need. Then why did you build? Now what happened? That setup that you have created, that same setup, you start feeling what? Restricting you, isn't it? The same thing becomes a burden for you. That burdensomeness you understand, but we don't understand the reason for that. That's where these masters come and help us. You see, we don't understand the ignorance problem. We understand the pain. We don't understand the virus, but we understand the fever. Isn't it? The chest congestion we understand, but we don't understand the virus. You can't see the virus, but you do experience the congestion. When you are experiencing the congestion, the doctor is one who says this is the virus. You can't see it. Similarly, we all experience the problem of samsara. It is Shankara who could recognize that, and he is giving us. He says, hey, all this is what, sir? Repetition. You are repeating the same thing again and again and again. Believing what? The new setup that I am creating will stay with me, or I will stay with it. This will set right everything. This will set right everything. Every time you genuinely believe it. Every setup you are trying to create around yourself, about your life, you genuinely believe will protect you, is it not? Every one of us think is going to insulate me. He says, no, it will not do it. So what's the solution? Amazing verse. This is the problem. Solution, he says what? This is the solution. What? This samsara, the problem of mind, has two dimensions. One, it is unending. There is no end to it. One. Two, difficult to cross over. It is very difficult. Bahudustare means it is difficult to cross over. It is unending. This repetition will go on and on and on and on. When is it going to stop? We don't know. So, no clue we have in terms of this or that. So, what is the only solution? What is the only way I can overcome this samsara? It says, oh Murari, only through your grace I can come over. This is where the problem comes. See, last two verses, what was he saying? Introverted person should practice that, extroverted person should practice this, little of Bhagavad Gita, little of that, little of this, you do that. That is not the lifestyle, this is not the lifestyle, changes. So much of instructions being given. Now he says what? Only your grace can save me. If grace alone can save, if you are going to take verse 21, forget about verse 20. Strike out verse 20. If you are going to take verse 20, verse 21 you should strike out. You see? But you cannot strike out. Both have to be there. That is where the idea of moksha comes into picture. You see? If it is Svarga alone, then 21 you can strike off. You see? I have earned my rights to enter into heaven. That's all. There's no problem. So I put in effort, I get the result. Isn't it? I work hard, I studied well, I wrote the exam properly, I got good marks. See, it's as good as that. I study well, I am knowledgeable now. I did not study, therefore I don't have knowledge. That's it. There is a clear relationship between cause and consequence, cause and effect. Right. Now, the moment you say moksha, moksha means what, sir? Moksha is not heaven. Realization is not heaven, please. Realization is something beyond that. Now, if I have to reach to that state of realization, which is beyond all this, then there is a problem. Is beyond is infinite. Realization is infinity. Beyond samsara is infinity. Now, if I have to reach that state of infinity, what should I do? You cannot work towards getting into that infinity. Not possible. Why? Any amount of effort you put in, your efforts were all finite. The finite efforts can never produce an infinite effect. Finite effort will produce finite effect. Finite cause, finite effect. Infinite cause alone can produce infinite effect. Right. Now, any amount of tapas you do, any amount of sadhana you do, all this is what? Finite. Now, how can your finite efforts bring about infinity? Infinite realization? That can never happen. But it happens. How? That's where he says it's through your grace it happens. Not because of my effort. Because my efforts were all finite. Since my effort is finite, the effect I am getting is infinite, but it is not possible and it is happening. How can an impossibility happen? Which means it's beyond my effort. What happens beyond my effort is there? Realization happening beyond my effort, and that beyond something which is enabling me to get that realization is known as grace. It's called a kripa. Okay. Otherwise, all of us will think what? Through my effort I am going to get realization. No. Now the problem comes is this. Okay, if realization is going to happen only through grace, why should I put in effort? You're all with me. If realization is going to happen only through grace, why should I put in effort? That's where he gives a beautiful example. Right? Gives the example of pole vault. See, pole vault, how you cross over the pole. It's not a high jump. You know, high jump is, 6 feet, 6.2 and all that. Now here they keep 14 feet. Now 14 feet height bar, how will you cross? You can't jump over. Not possible. So what you need, sir? You need a pole. So you take a pole, you peg the pole, take a lift, come up to that height, and then jump over. Correct. Now, imagine that you have to cross the bar without a pole. What will happen? Not possible. Suppose if you are holding on to the pole only, can you cross over? That is also not possible. So what you have to do, sir? You have to take the pole, take a lift, come up to that height. In that height, you have to leave the pole. Right? In that height, you leave the pole and then jump over. And then what will happen? And then Mother Earth will embrace you. Imagine Mother Earth is not there. Gravitation is not there. What will happen? You will be floating there only. You will never come down. You see? Now, who will come to receive the medal then? But what is interesting is, you can experience gravitation when? From that height alone, you can experience gravitation. But gravitation is not operating only there. It is operating even in the ground. The fact that you are able to sit and listen to the class, I am able to sit and talk to you, is because of gravitation. But do I experience gravitation now? The pull of gravitation? You can experience the pull of gravitation only when you go to a height. Similarly, the grace of Lord, you can experience only if you take that lift. Standing on the ground, you cannot experience it. Don't try. That's what a lot of us have been doing nowadays. All that we have to do is what? Krishna also said that in the Gita. Charama Slokam, he said. What is it, sir? Sarvadharman parityecha. Mam ekam saranam braja. Aham tva sarva papebhyo. Moksha ishyami. Ma sucha. Don't worry, man. All that you have to do is what? Surrender to me alone. Now, if that is what the message is, then Krishna must have told that in the very first verse. Why he has to start all that lecture and then say that finally? No. Exactly like that instructor to the pole vaulter. He says, when you are on the ground, what you have to do? Run. Have a firm grip on the pole. Peg it appropriately and get a lift. Don't leave it halfway through. Go up, up. You come up to that height. Then what you have to do? Forget it. This is the secret. The problem for all of us is, if I have slogged towards something, I will not give it up. It is easy to give up something for which I have not slogged. That's very easy. That's not a problem. I say, see, you put in so much of, first generation fellow puts in so much of effort. He buys one small property, buys something, in the corner, and he keeps it. And when before his death, he gives it to his son. Okay. Or what else to do? He can't take it with him. So give it. Okay. Gives. Your lifetime effort. Okay. He put in effort lifetime saving of his after retirement benefits. He bought that property and gave it to him. Now, the son is he studied good, he did all the good things and everything, and he has got a good job, and he has got into a good company, and he is settled, and he is buying a property. Okay. Now, he bought a property. Now, he has a property given by you also to him. Okay. After some time, there is a financial crisis. Somehow he got into some business trouble. Now, he has to settle that thing. Now, he has two properties in his hands. One is bought by him. One is given by his father. Right. If he has to pledge, which one he will pledge first? Very interesting question. Which one he will pledge? He will pledge the father's property, not his. Why? See, his is what? His is only about 7 years of work. 7 years of his slogging has created this property, whereas that property is the work of 35 years. 35 years of saving and slogging has brought this. Now, 35 years of work bigger or 7 years of work bigger? But for him, which will look bigger? If it is given, you will never get it. You know. Now, anywhere you have slogged, to give that up is not easy. The highest you can do is what, sir? Is the slogging that you have done to gain the spiritual knowledge, the spiritual effort that you put in, finally to give that up and say, I am not going to get realization because of this, man. Therefore what? Drop it. That final one to do is ultimate surrender, that is. In fact, that is what we call as truly surrender. You see, that's why Christ's statement, the final words, we say, thine will be done. But before that, Christ, a lot of people think, Father, forgive them is his last. No, that's not his last words. After that, he looks up to the skies and shouts, Father, why have you forsaken me? Most Christian theologians don't know how to interpret it. They don't know what to, because it looks like as though, Christ is waiting for some miracle to happen, Like that, Simon is another, son of God who appear, is also there in that, Old Testament. He, whenever he is in trouble, he will get tremendous power in his body, So he can single-handedly, he destroyed the army completely, killed the army of people. That's the power he got from God. Is Christ expecting something like that? Why have you forsaken me? You also should have given power like you gave to Simon. No. Then what was he saying? Now, that's not the best part. After that, Christ being Christ, he says, let thy will be done, not mine. That surrender, that is ultimate. I was so tempted to explain that during, this Guru Purnima. I wanted to, but I said too much it would be. As it is, too much of material being packed in that. There's too much for people to take in, But surrender means that you put in that effort, slog and slog and slog. As a training only, they said in the initial stages to perform the yajnas. The havans, people were doing is a practice for that. Charity, we have been asked to do. Why, sir? It's a practice. What is a practice? What is this yajna, sir? What you are doing in yajna? You take the grains and offer in the fire. All that they are doing is what? Simply burning it. That's what they are doing. Actually speaking, you can put it in a very, very, sophisticated words you can use. Offering an oblation and this, that and all. But essentially what you are doing is burning it up. Right? The best part is what? In agriculture, it was a time when people were not having this industrial revolutions and all those things has come into picture to do agriculture. It has to be physically done. Every aspect of agriculture, farming is physically done by man only. Slogging it is. 4.5, 5 months of work you slog to produce something. You bring that. This Brahmin comes and says, put it in fire. Burn it up. You people will never understand it. That is why I say today performing yajna is all fake. Will never produce any result. It's a waste of time. Why? You are never slogged. Where have you slogged to produce butter? Where have you slogged to produce ghee? Where have you slogged to produce the grain? You have never worked on that. Now you come and you buy from Amazon. You sit and click of a button. You press Amazon, time, come home delivery done. And then come the priest also comes, he also says, Indraye, Idanna Mama, Indraye, Idanna Mama, all that. There's no meaning to it. Then what you have to do, sir? Next time if you are performing yajna, what you have to do? Take 2,000 rupee note. Bundle. Keep it with you. And say what? Indraye Swaha, Indraye Idanna Mama. Pour the 2,000 rupee note in the fire. You will know. Not 1,000 rupee note. Now you will do all that. 1,000 rupee notes we do that, sir. Why? So if you are holding it means you will be arrested. If you are keeping, I think there are 4 or something, they have some number. If you are having more than 4 or 5 notes with you, means, you can be arrested. 2,000. I don't know what will happen to you, but the priest will get a heart attack. If you tell the priest, no, what I want to do is, put the note. Can you do that? The thought itself, you feel, Ishwaran, are you mad? Is what you will tell me. Why? That is called yajna. What is it, sir? You slog, you gain, and then to give it up. When you give that up is where you get the effect. Only then the grace of the Lord is accessible and available to you. Till it's not that it is not there. Don't think, Lord's grace is not there. It is there. But it's not available. It's not accessible to you. When do you get that access? Only when you work. Verse 20, slog, effort. 21, renounce that. The way to gain anything is to lose it, says Ramatirtha. Superb statement of his. The way to gain anything is to lose it. What you have to do is give it up. Slog. First work on that. And then forget about the result. Now, we don't do effort and then we say, I'm going to renounce. Or you start slogging means you can't give up the result. See, this is the problem of us. You say you got to work on both sides and then say, I don't care. It's a slogging. How much of effort you put in. What is effort, sir? That's called yajna. You see, effort. Then don't worry about the result. Our problem is, if I put an effort, I should be guaranteed of the result. Like a lot of people say, he said, if I do something means I should get it. If I'm not going to get it, I will not do anything. You will never grow in life. Effort. You slog. That's called yajna. You know, that's what we do. That's why we do these programs and all these things. What is it? I know it's not going to make any difference, but still you slog to do every bit from our side. It's an opportunity to work on it and say, I'll try my best. I'll give a best shot from my side in terms of how to reach. That's what I've been asking. I said, see, that's what you should do. At least you can take it as a project and do. Now we have this, lecture by Swamiji on, 26th. It's available on, the net. It's going to be, there on the net. The important message is there for people of this time, rehabilitation. This time, I'm trying to reach to as many as possible. Take that up and try to spread the news to ensure that people, they may register, they may not register. That's none of our issue. That's not my problem, and that should not be your problem also. Now the thing is, the moment I say it's not your problem, you'll say what? Anyway, it doesn't going to make any difference. Then why should I do it? Or else immediately you have the fear of what? Suppose if people brand me, anyway everybody brands you. Remember that. Now you think people are thinking you as a liberal person or what? Nobody is going to think. It is better to get a branding that you stand for something than you are not sure about anything in life. You see, you stand for your conviction. You should stand for it. That's called strength. Say that. It makes a difference. If it makes a difference, if you believe in that, you have to do it. That is called effort. The problem is what? The moment you put an effort, immediately you will start asking for result. Now, I have sent to this many people. How many people registered? Now, who cares? Whether they register, they don't register. It's none of our problem. There should not be a single one in your vicinity who doesn't know about that event. Of course, people cannot come when that's what we do every year during Yajna. We organize the lectures. They're all free lectures. There's no charges. They're all free. They just have to register. They'll get the link. That's about it. So there has to be some discipline. It can't be, available, everyone. So we just keep that basic thing, register. Now, anyone and everyone should know that information. Now, take it up. And whether you put it up in your Instagram or you put it up in your Facebook or you call people and tell them and ask them to put it up, or you forward it to your friends through your WhatsApp group or your email group, I don't care who. If there is a human being in your contact, every human in your contact should do it. That's called slogging. You try that, you will know what difficult the work is. It is amazing to see. Put in that effort. Then what you should do, sir? Surrender. I don't care. That's called surrender. That is what he is saying. Oh Murari, save through your grace. But remember, his grace will be available and accessible to you only after you had put in that effort. If you have not slogged, and our problem is, I want to do all these spiritual things secretly. Nobody should know in the world. Secretly, I will do. I know a lot of fellows in Tamil Nadu. They do all the pujas and everything. When they come outside, they'll remove all the, the tilaks and everything. They'll remove and come out. Inside, they do all that. I say, don't live like that. live a life of conviction. If you are convinced, if you are not convinced, take your time. I don't mind. You see, I don't mind that. But if you are convinced, stand by your conviction. Let the world say anything. And anyone who has a conviction will be challenged, will be questioned by the world. If you are not having a conviction, nobody will challenge you. Everybody will be with you only. Everybody will say correct, 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 correct. That's what you people do in that party. When you go to a party, what do you do? Keep talking, keep talking, keep talking. Have 4 pigs, come back. You know, there's no meaning in that. Anyone you are in touch with should know. That's the effort. You know, even though this program has been there for the last 2.5 months, I said I don't want to promote it. I don't want to tell anybody. If they get to know, let them get to know. I'm not interested in that. But then, in the context, it was so relevant. Then I said, this is not to event, please. I'm only explaining the verse. Right? I'm not saying the work. I'm talking about the verse. Now, for you to understand that verse, only when you do that, you will understand it. How difficult it is to, because people bring their friend to the lecture. If you would have connected somebody to the lecture, if they have come for the class, immediately you will call that person, ask them, how was the class? What do you think of it? They will give some opinion, and 99% of their opinion will not have any credentials. You'll say, that's what we call as result orientation. You see, immediately you will ask, what do you think of him? What do you think of him? What do you think of that? What do you think of this? I don't like this, I don't like that. Nobody will say what they like. The first thought will come is, I don't like, what I don't agree with. The whole mindset is like that for us today. Now, how do you correct that? This is what I call as, society is clouded. Now we've got to break that and come out and create a system, create a culture, to create a proper atmosphere for the future generation. Lies in your hands. Own up the responsibility and take it up. Put in that slogging, and then what you have to do, sir? Give it up. Then you say it's okay. That is what he calls as, Murari, save me through your grace. See you. Hari Om.